What's up, guys? We're here for another deck profile and scatter report. Today we're looking at the demon god himself, Demigra. Call him the whale shark, big ass blue guy that he's pretty buff. Super fun deck. I haven't seen anyone running this exact, close to this build yet. It's running some cards that I've been wanting to play with for a long time, the Towa stuff specifically. So let me run you guys through it. Make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get to it. First and foremost, to those that don't know what this leader is, his name is Demigra. And his ability is, when this card attacks a leader, place 3 cards from the top of your deck in the drop area. If all of the cards placed in your drop area are black, draw 1 card. When you awaken, you untap 2 energy. On his awakened side, he's called Ghastly Malice Demigra. He's got Wormhole, which means you can activate Overrealm and Dark Overrealm up to a total of 2 times a turn. So you can do, 2 Overrealms, 2 Dark Overrealms, or 1 of each. And then also his activate main is once per turn, choose up to 3 black cards in your warp and you place them in the drop area. So what you're doing early game with this guy is you really want to play him in a mono black deck, or mostly black. And you're going to be, milling the top 3, hopefully getting a draw every time you attack, which is pretty awesome. Then on the back side, once you don't want to deck out, so you want to awaken at some point through the game, and then you're going to hit, you're going to flip over to this back side, and then you're going to be moving cards from your warp back to your drop. And he's got some cards in here that let you do either way. Some will put some cards from the drop to the warp to the drop, deck to the drop, and you can kind of move cards around and move your resources around as you need them. All right, let's get into it. So, first card we're running is 4 copies of Time's Judgment. It's just a regular negate, black negate, costs 1. You need negates in this format. Everyone's running these aggro decks. You're gonna need to protect yourself. That's what this deck's all about, is protecting yourself, wait until the end game, and then dropping your big guns. Something cool about this negate is that you can drop 2 cards from your hand when you use it, and it lets you get it back from the drop, which is pretty awesome. So if if you really need to survive and you don't want to combo out of things, you can just negate stuff and keep bringing this back to your hand as long as you have hand size. So we're running 4 of those. Then 2 Searing Arrows. This card's interesting. So it's going to give your leader, well, on your turn, it's going to give, actually on both turns, it's going to give your leader 10,000 when you activate it during the battle. And then on your turn, it's going to make them take a card and send it to the warp. If it's a battle card, you get to combo with it for free. Pretty awesome. Makes them have to make a tough choice. Sometimes they don't want to get rid of those extra cards, but they really don't want to give you the combo power. Sometimes you get a draw. It's pretty great. Then, of course, we run 4 of the black super combo. Of course, you gotta run the super combo. This one's awesome. You only need 5 cards in the warp. Doesn't matter what your life is at. So you get this really fast with this leader. Turn 2, maybe even turn 1 if you get it. You can turn this online. Then next we're running, the biggest hubbub card of the set, Time Control Corona. Everyone's calling it Corona. This card's got Deflect. You can't Bloodlust it. You can't Crusher Ball. You can't do any of that nonsense. But then once it's out there, it draws 1. That's great. Just a standard 1-cost draw 1. And then you're gonna get to stop all super combos from playing cards. So this specifically targets Shigesh. So they're gonna try to use Shigesh later in the game, and they can't. And it's pretty great. So hopefully we'll see less Shigesh. I've still been seeing some people playing it at locals, but we'll see. Next we play the 4 copies of the 1-cost blocker, Poutine in Demigra's Thrall. So she's pretty standard blocker. I wish she was free, but she's not. She does have the added benefit though of when you play her, you can move 2 cards from your deck to the drop. So if you're trying to get up to, you got that 3 overrealm from the leader, or 3 to the drop from the leader, you need 2 more for a card. You play her, put 2 more to the drop, and now you got 5. In this format, everyone's playing these aggro decks, so Time's Judgment and the Poutine card are pretty important to survive the first 2 or 3 turns. You want to see them early, you want to play them early, you want to block things early just to survive. Next we run 3 copies of Gravy in Demigra's Thrall. They're both in the Thrall. This guy is just a combo card and black energy. You play him when you want to bring cards back from the warp into the drop area so that you can overwhelm another guy. So it's just one way late game to get more stuff into your drop area. Then we run 4 copies of Time's Choice Supreme Kai of Time. This card, I decided to go with this over Time Control Trunks because we're not running a ton of copies of the bigger cards in this deck. It's focused a lot on the cheap stuff. And so being able to look at the top 3 and pick one instead of the top 2 just gives you, more vision into your deck. You get to get more precise with the exact card you pick. So I like that. It puts the card 2 cards to the bottom of the deck, which can be frustrating sometimes, but being able to see 3 cards, and we do run the secret rare in this deck, so you don't want to mill it into your drop. We want to grab it as soon as possible, and being able to see 3 helps us do that. Then we run 4 copies of Time Trauma Mass Saiyan. This card's pretty cool. Doesn't have overrealm, so you have to hard cast it. But when you play this card, you get to choose up to 2 of your life and add them to your hand. If you choose to add 1 or more cards to your hand, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with the energy cost of 5 or less and send it to the warp. So you play for 3, you can send one of their cards to the warp, pretty good. You also get to awaken, and this deck, people may try to stall you because you got a lot of defense and you don't want to deck out. So you want to be able to awaken about halfway through the game or 3/4 of the way through, so you're not drawing all of your cards. Then here comes the spice of the deck. I've been wanting to run these cards for a long time, and I think this is the first deck besides SS3 that you can really run it in, but it's Time Ruler Toa. So if you guys don't know what this card is, run 4 of it. It's a Towa card. It's from the Villains expansion pack. Basically, when you overwhelm this, it's an overwhelm 4. You get to steal one of their battle cards and take control of it of a 2 cost or less. With everyone playing all these free blockers, a lot of the swap cards are 2. A lot of the new really great cards from set 4 are 1 or 2 cost. You can steal some really good stuff. I've done games where I've taken the new Baby Pan card and gotten 5 more draws the next 4 to 5 turns. You can steal any blocker, really mount a big defense to bide your time to get your secret rare out. And then along the same vein, we run 4 of probably one of my favorite cards from the new set. It's Umbral Invitation Toa. So what this does is something very similar. It's overrealm, or dark overrealm 4, so it has to be all black cards, which this deck only runs black, so that won't be a problem. And it costs 1 energy. When you play this card, choose up to 1 of the battle cards in your opponent's battle area with an energy cost of 3 or less and gain control of it. So this is super important. It's different from the other one because it's it takes a 3 instead of a 2, and that's big. Not many people in this format are playing huge hitters, and if you can steal a 3-drop, a lot of the times that's one of the best guys in their deck or just a very effective person to have on your side. So you can just, you steal their whole field, you're able to do this once or twice a turn, you're building the board, you're taking their board, you're just gaining advantage and you're being able to defend yourself. And so we run 4 copies now of Trunks Power Overseeing Time. I think everyone knows what this card does, but if you don't, it's an overrealm 4, cost 2. It's got double strike, 20,000. And when you overrealm it, you get to take 1 battle card from the warp and put it to your hand. So what this is going to let you do is, if you mill all your super combos, you play this card, you get 1 of them back. If you mill the secret rare in the deck and you want that back, you can grab that card. It kind of just lets you pick the pieces specifically out of your warp that you've milled. So it's pretty good. Run that at 4. I want to play that a lot. Then we run the promo card from the special packs for this set, the Dimensional Control Demigra. He's pretty cool, actually. I like him. He's overrealm 4, cost 1. He's 20,000. And when this card attacks on the turn that you overwhelmed it for, your opponent chooses 1 card from their hand and sends it to their warp. If that card was a battle card, combo with it in your combo area. So it's hand destruction. It's extra combo power for no cost from you. So you're not wasting hand size, you're killing their hand. It's pretty great. Then we run 2 copies of a very similar card, the Dark Control Demon God Demigra. He's similar. He's dark overrealm 4 and cost 3, so he's a little more expensive, but he does stay out in the field, and every time he attacks, he gets the same effect as this guy. He's 20,000 only single strike though, so he's not fantastic, but the hand destruction from this late game, as you've been defending and stealing their stuff, they're losing resources. They're trying to they're gonna have to push, and their hands are gonna be smaller. Then we run 3 copies of Dimensional Banisher Few. he's pretty awesome. He's overrealm 5, cost 1. When you play this card with overrealm, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and send it to the warp. The key thing to notice about that is that it has no restriction on cost. So you could take out, you know, a 12-drop Whis. You could do a Cell. You can take out whatever card you want. It's pretty great. He's also a double striker for 20k, so he's, you know, one of the finishers in this deck. And then we finished the deck off with, you know, this bad boy, Beyond Darkness Demigra, the secret rare. Ooh, ah, ooh. So let me read him off. He's got Ultimate, Dark Overrealm 7, 5 cost, so he's pretty hard to get out. It's going to be fairly late. You're going to have to do it on turn 5 or 6. When this card attacks, your opponent reveals their hand. Choose up to 4 battle cards from it and combo within the combo area. Something to know about this card is even if it's negated, that effect still goes off. So no matter what, they're dropping 4 cards from their hand, or 4 battle cards anyways. And this, like, late game, if you get this out, they're gonna lose 4 battle cards, and then they probably can't kill you the next turn because you're running so much defense, and you're stealing their defense, that you're gonna do it again next turn and they're gonna lose. So I really like this deck. I think it's really fun. People don't know how to deal with it because they aren't used to people stealing their cards. I think people are sleeping on the Umbral Invitation Toa. I was running the bigger Toa with the cost 4 and a Xeno Evolve. I don't really like it. It works really well in certain situations, but with no one playing like super big cards, it's not great. And if they are playing the big cards, it's usually like a 7-drop that you can't even steal. And it's just expensive. So, you know, try this deck out. At least experiment with the Toa cards, give it a try, and, you know, take it to your locals and mess with people. It's really fun. So thanks for watching. You know, give us a subscribe. We're gonna do more deck profiles pretty soon. And yeah, see you next time. Peace.